Ah, welcome to physical and virtual natural balance masterclass. My name is Neal, and Neal's not who I am. What? Well, who am I? I'm infinite. I'm multidimensional. And I'm a piece of God here in form coming through a human body. And where do we start? Well, to think that I can start, we've already started. So a place to continue from is now. And welcome, Lucia. You're welcome. Today is a conversation of change, and it's a conversation of transition. And my relationship to change in the past has been one of resistance. It's been one of like holding on. I didn't like change. Like there's a part of me that still doesn't like change, and change is always like the part of me that doesn't like change is the me that's in reality, and the truth is change is always occurring. It can't not be occurring, and if there is a constant, that constant is change. And what's changing? Energy is changing. Energy is moving from one state to another state, or one form to another form. And sometimes dramatic energy changes can look like hurricanes, or can look like mells, or can look like tornadoes. And dramatic energy changes create a lot of change in a short amount of time. And then there's subtle energy changes. There's just subtle changes, like, for example, my heartbeat. For example, like what's happening internally in our body. Like I can conceptualize it and intellectualize it, but it's subtle. It's happening even as though I'm not consciously looking to make it happen. Change is occurring. And so, so with this conversation of change, like, I'm gonna pause here and just see what's present. Is there anything alive? Anything coming up?
Check. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going through a lot of change. Like even in the last year, first coming to the village, it was such a powerful experience for me because you can't help but have this mirror be reflected back, and my need for significance was like right here. And it was difficult to see, but I was so grateful to be mirrored that. And so all year it's being, I've been sort of acclimatizing to not being that people pleaser, not spending all that energy on looking for significance or acting out of that place. And so I still feel like there's change happening, and I'm learning to just be instead of do. And there's a lot more energy. And at the same time, I can feel the resistance mostly in the way I work. I keep going back to the same places, and I'm not getting the results I want, because I think deep down I know that I need to shift and aim higher. But it's that comfort of knowing what the results could be, or what it could bring in terms of security. And it's like my higher self, or the is demanding that I shoot higher. So I'm just learning to be patient with myself, because I think in the past I'd be cruel to myself, that it would just slow the change or the process even further, whereas now I'm just, there's more space to see and respond, as opposed to react or act out of fear, or so I'm giving myself a lot more space to just be, which is new for me.
Thank you. Oh, it's Joseph. Hey, Joseph.
Hi. Yeah, I was just when you asked that question, I had just come in. I missed the introduction, so I was just curious, like, oh, what is the I feel I just got out of the breakthrough class, and I feel more energized now than I did before. I've been going through a pretty heavy, like, depressive type of phase, and it's made me not want to do anything. But I'm feeling more energy now, and I just feel like I want to start reeling people into me again,
Mm.
and more deeply and more powerfully than I ever have before in my life. Like I've been wanting to reach out to people, but I've been feeling like shit, so I haven't been doing it. Like my parents, for example, it's kind of sad when I talk to them because they're going through a lot of shit too. And if I feel like, man, if I call them and I'm all depressed and stuff, and I share that with them, man, I'm gonna make them feel even worse. But that's getting a little bit ahead of myself. I think it's not my responsibility how they feel about what I share. And for me, my three things that were missing and that I get to create are harmony, fellowship, and intimacy. And pretty much all three of those things involve reaching out to people and experiencing connections. Give me 1 second. So now I hear the calling again, uh, to be a fisher of men.
How long were you in this depressive state? Like, what's the
Ooh,
time frame?
the one I'm in now, or like in my life.
Yeah, well, the one you're in now, like, when did it start and, like, how long did it go on for?
Mm, let's see. I want to say about the time of daylight savings. I'm in Texas, so I'm Central
Yeah,
Time.
I get it. I'm not convinced on the daylight savings thing either.
Yeah, it I noticed it was like it kind of threw me off waking.
So it started then how long did it go?
You cut out.
Yeah.
Can you guys still hear
Uh,
me?
Joseph, your internet was like affected. I don't know what you just said in like the last, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds or a minute. Yeah, I'm still not hearing you. I don't know if, is he muted, Rob,
How about
or?
now?
Yeah, loud and clear now.
Okay. Damn, it got cold outside. It was warm yesterday. Um, let's see. With things that I was trying to get done and show up to, and also it's starting to get dark a lot earlier. And whenever it gets dark, there's like my mind and my body are just like, oh well, like my biological part is like, oh well, it's about time to go to bed, go to sleep. But it's only like 5 or 6 in the afternoon. So the productive part of me who wants to get stuff done would just be like, okay, we'll just go turn on the light and keep doing whatever. But then the other part of me is like, well, if you do that, then you're not gonna feel like going to sleep. You're just gonna keep on doing stuff. But it's all
Mhm.
bullshit.
Yes. So, what changed in you, Joseph, that had you going from whatever depressed state you were in to where you're at right now, to where you're like considering reaching out to people and to actually connect with them, and like what was there a transition, and if so, well, there obviously was a transition, but like, was there a specific catalyst for that transition? And if so, what was that catalyst?
uh, One catalyst is no matter how I feel, for the most part, I keep showing up to earthquaking classes and events, whatever's going on. And second part is when I and other people, we open up and share, and we put our hearts on the table. That really I really feel that connection, because a lot of what people share is kind of freaky. It's like they're just reflecting back what's already going on inside of me. I'm like, what? This is a little weird. So there's kind of an element of like responsibility. I'm like, damn, I better get my shit together, or else people are just going to keep reflecting this back to me.
Yes.
And how can I help people step into heaven if I'm down here wallowing in hell still?
All right. I do have, are you open for another question?
Sure.
What are you committed to?
Harmony, fellowship, intimacy, and abundance.
All right.
And that's just the tip
Awesome.
of the iceberg. Yeah,
Received.
I'm committed to. Yeah, I'm committed to embodying my highest self. So that means um,
I actually heard that
getting
more
out
than
of the
I
way
did.
and
So I heard your commitment to your higher self more than I heard the commitment to I think was it peace, love, and harmony. Um, but when you said like
yeah,
I'm
harmony,
committed,
fellowship, intimacy.
all right. When you said like I'm committed to my higher self, I'm like oh yeah um, that for me that landed.
Embodying my highest self.
Do you got more or is that complete?
I think it cut out for a little bit. The highest self part landed for you. You said.
What'd you say?
You said the highest self part landed for you more.
Yes.
Yeah, because that, whenever I'm committed to that, it's like, my ego might want to experience these little things, but my highest self, that's like only God knows what that is. That's the whole iceberg. So I'm committed to the whole iceberg, not just the tip that I can see.
Mhm. Nice. Is there more there for
Yeah,
you, or is that done?
that feels complete for now.
Can I say something?
Yes. Yeah, we're in a feminine flow environment.
Okay.
Like you can literally just grab a mic and speak. Like
Okay.
I invite interruptions. Like there's synchronicities. But yeah, please.
Well, when Joseph was talking about depression, we live in a society where, they just want to medicate you as soon as you say the word. And I found that often in depression, there are gifts that your body and your deeper self is trying to tell you something. So my invitation is, if your depression had a gift, what would it be?
Are you asking for a response, or are you just putting it out there?
I'm just putting it out there. He can respond or not. For me, it pointed to like there needs to be change. You need to surrender to change. That was the gift in the depression that I went through in the last, in 2020 and during that pandemic.
Can you ask your question again?
If depression had a gift, if there was a gift in the depression, what would that be? If your deeper self was trying to tell you something through that depression, what would it be? What would your guess be?
Yeah, when I hear this, like for me, in the times when I've been like sad and depressed, like the thing that my higher self was like teaching me and guiding me towards was a path of congruency and a path of authenticity, which wasn't present when I was in the depression. And what was present instead was this people pleaser, was this significance thing. And That's the thing. That's the thing that gets depressed. That's the thing that needs something. That's the thing that's like resisting something. And that thing, it's part of who I am, but it's not who I am. And my true self uses depression to bring me into greater alignment. And little me, the ego, like I resist the shit out of that. Like I resist the shit out of, like, why the fuck do I need depression to like live a God life? Like why do I need depression to then step into congruency and authenticity? Like these are questions I have, and the answer is actually irrelevant. Like I could bring relevance to it, but what's relevant to me is the end product, and of like, all right, so now that I went through this thing, who am I after I went through this thing? And if that's positively transformed, then that's a win. And I don't need to not have depression to have the win. It's a win. That's what I have. Mike.
At the bottom.
Yeah, you hold the mic for a moment, or hold the button.
Okay. Yeah, just expanding social group. And I mean in the simplest sense. Like, for example, if any of us was alive 200,000 years ago, the situations are much more basic. You have some local family, maybe kids, some friends, your tribe. Things are complicated now, and a lot of times people are cutting themselves off from real interactions and simple interactions, and not even having really just the most fundamental social groups, just getting out and doing things with people. Where that's been one of mine. I was like, oh, I've just got to get out and get around people. I was an only kid. And then the other one is sometimes just, and by that I mean, screw business status and, all these the politics and everything, because the simple thing is just having some people to spend some time with and go and do something fun. And then also along with that is needing a change of scenery. I had a couple situations where, like, I had a family member who came to stay with me, and we had all this negative stuff going with the rest of the family towards us. And I was like, we have got to just get out and get some fresh air. So we went to the mall one evening, motivated by this just awful negativity. And it was just simply getting out of the situation was like literally the most refreshing thing in the whole world, because the other people at the mall were not going through what we were. And I didn't realize how entrenched we had gotten. It's like we got acclimated to a lot of negativity that was going on. So yeah, those are two times where it was the depression or negativity ended up being really useful.
Nice.
The other thing I've heard people say about depression is that depression can be a luxury. Some people don't have the luxury of being depressed because they're in such dire situation with kids to feed and or war zones or whatever. They don't have that luxury of feeling depressed. So it makes you think. When I heard that, it really struck me, because not having that luxury made me appreciative that I had that luxury of going into depression so that I could receive the gifts.
Yeah, I received this. That's potent. There's a whole new context in what you just shared in looking at depression, which for me creates a positive outlook on it. I'm like, oh, depression, like great, like I can navigate through this, and yeah, that's what I received.
It's information.
So how does all of this relate to change?
Because I think often the depression is saying you need to surrender to change, or you need to open yourself up to change, or become comfortable with change.
Yeah, I feel like my depression usually follows stagnation.
Say that again, Joseph. I didn't hear you.
I feel like my depression, it tends to follow stagnation.
Oh, do you have an example?
Oh, let's see. So several times in my life where I would start out not being depressed, and then over time it would kind of develop. Either when I'm working or not working for too long, and it's too much of the same stuff, too much of the same routine. Either you know going to work and doing the same stuff, wearing out my body, uh, not being able to shift to a different position, and being stuck there for like over a year, or like at this point, with the exception of like 3 or 4 days, I've been unemployed for over a year, and it's really like I feel like it's a miracle that I haven't been like super depressed more until recently, because I haven't even had much of a way of like even bringing in money to take care of myself. I'm stuck, having to be, you know, carried by like my roommate, which is, you know, kind of a similar thing that would happen with my family if it was the same situation.
Hmm. Well,
Uh,
not congratulations on being carried by your roommates, but congratulations on not having a job. Fuck yeah, dude.
yeah,
Is there more there for you?
yeah. It's like right now, I've got all kinds of freedom of time, but I've got no freedom of money. So that's where a lot of the pain is coming from.
Hmm.
So fi- leaning into finding more of a natural balance.
Yes. And all right. So what is required for there to be natural balance? Like let's say in 5 minutes from now.
Mm, mm, 5 minutes from now, I don't know. I guess
But if you were to know,
I know that I'm meant to be of service.
so how does that answer my question? I think it does, but I'm asking you how it does.
Well, I need to connect with people abundantly until I can be in a space of being of service to people
Hmm.
and doing it in such a way that people are like, "Oh man, I gotta send some money to him."
Nice. And you can do that in 5 minutes?
Uh, yeah.
Come on. Come on. Is there more for you, Joseph, or is that complete?
Yeah, I gotta let myself out of this cage. I need to start reaching out to people, like a lot more of them. Like I was given a challenge to reach out to 20 people to have conversations about, um, like kind of to help grow my business, but also to see what it is people need. Like kind of focusing on helping people with like overcoming procrastination, not doing the things that they want to do in their life. So that's one of the things for me is just reaching out to people and like, because I've been so much in the space of not doing that enough with friends and family that it's like, damn, I need to reach out to these people just to catch up.
Nice.
And then also like, hey, maybe they're dealing with this issue, and if they are, listen to what they have to say about it, take notes, find out what people need and where I can be of service, and then give that to people.
Nice. Who's the new person, Rob? Dolores, welcome. I see a picture of a Native American with an eagle flying. Welcome, Dolores.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, this is a feminine. I'm saying this specifically to you, Dolores, but right now this is like imagine like a mastermind where we're one brain and we're all a neural connection of that one brain, and that's this conversation. This conversation is a conversation of flow. It's a continual conversation. And in this conversation, if you want to share, you can raise your hand, or you can just literally unmute and share. Yeah, this is a really intimate environment to just open up and let rip what's inside of you, what's in your heart, what's being called for, like inside of me right now, that I can speak to, and that when I speak to it, like something is available. And even if something's not available, like literally what's going on internally, and how can I be of lift here? And a lot has changed for me in a week. That was a big part of why I brought this conversation, is like so much has changed inside of me internally, and what I've recognized just literally during this conversation is like I despise, like, I don't know if I despise them, but like I'm not entirely thrilled about doing the same thing every day. I like to switch it up. I like to have moments where, yeah, I did this yesterday, but now I do it at a different time, or like I like change the schedule so it's different. And then there's this part of me that's like, no, I don't want it different. I want it to be the same, because then I'm safe. And that part of me that's like desiring safety so deeply resists the shit out of change. And I recognize that now, like, it's like change is change. It's neutral. Like I look at change and I'm thinking like it's, either detrimental or beneficial, but no, change is like literally neutral. And then it's all in how I'm viewing it. And that's what I have right now.
Well, there's a saying about the paradox of change, that change really only begins when you totally accept where you're at in the moment. And then there's space for change, because the resistance to change is what keeps you stuck.
Yeah,
So that's the
I believe
paradox.
this.
Yeah.
Do you have an example in your life where this showed up?
Well, I'm thinking about my last relationship, where I think I knew for a long time that we were stuck and that I needed to leave. But for a long time, I put up with bad behavior, emotional abuse, because I was so resistant to that change that needed to happen. So that's a clear example. But it could also be, being in a, I'm thinking about in the past being in a depression and using all kinds of things to not feel my feelings. Like, so the resistance would show up in like overeating or drinking too much or smoking too much pot or socializing too much. Just anything to run away from whatever feeling that needed to be confronted, whatever it was. Because I have a history of depression in my family. My mother was depressed. I dealt with depression a lot in my 30s. And then I remember my daughter when she was about 14, and she came to me really upset and said, "Mom, I'm depressed, and I don't even know why." And I just knew that I just said to her, "You know what?" And I told her about the depression in our family history and said, "This isn't even yours." And just her hearing that she was able to let it go, and it never came back for her. But yeah, I think even sometimes looking at the feeling that needs to be felt is often what keeps us stuck and resistant to change when it needs to happen. A lot of us have a hard time facing our unhappiness or our sadness or our grief or our anger. Anger was a big one for me in my 20s. It even affected me physically. When I finally faced my anger, a lot changed for me physically. I became physically healthier. So yeah, I think a lot of the times depression is pointing to something that needs to be felt on a deeper level.
Joseph.
My comment's a little bit off target for what she was just saying, and back to Joseph for a second.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Is your name? Your name's Joseph.
Joseph, yeah.
All right, welcome.
And so this just to Joseph up here. I didn't catch how you are currently unemployed, but I just wanted to comment that for most people that I know, we have things that if we had all the free time in the world, we want to do that are actually constructive things for everyone, society. And for example, back in 2010, 2011, when the Arab Spring happened and OPEC crashed the oil prices and the U.S. went through the massive unemployment, there was this total discrepancy between, say, the colleges and people coming out of the colleges and any real work. And so much of our workforce was defined by really like from my point of view, there was like, how much can we as employers get away with? Like they were trying to get away with the lowest wages possible. And so for me, going forwards in the future in relationship to all of this, like the Great Reset and trying to go off grid and better communities and things, is there's just no excuse for it. People want to do things. They want to do constructive things. The pathways need to be there that facilitate that instead of being blind alleys. There's now more than ever in the technology now allows us to do things and have more opportunities than we've ever had before. There's no reason that anybody who's wanting to be constructive and do things and do something for society should not be able to do that or not be able to survive. There's just a whole, in the U.S., I'm sorry to say, I don't want to be incredibly negative, but there's just
I
total
love it.
disparity
Bring it. Come on.
between the wages and income brackets, castes of things, and also between the education system and functional jobs. Just tossing it out there. Again, I don't know if that really applies to you because I didn't hear the source of unemployment, but it can be a real source of depression. I was unemployed for about 6 months back in 2010, and it was absolutely miserable. It was just a big bunch of three-ring circus, and it's just, we need a more functional system.
That functional system is God's original design. It's natural balance. It's natural law. It's divine nature. It's transcendent of these man-made programs, these man-made legal systems. These fucking income brackets, who made those? Man. They're included in God, but man made those things to control and to create hierarchy. That's man-made hierarchy. There's divine hierarchy, and then there's man-made hierarchy. And so if I look at change and I look at divine law, what I see clearer than ever is perfection, and that the change is a lesson to be learned in the moment, where we can choose to see it high or low or positive or negative, but it's inherently a lesson for us to learn to see the perfection even in that moment. Yeah, that one. So I'm gonna pause and I don't know. Is there anything alive that wants to be spoken to?
What's that again?
Is there anything alive that you want to speak to right now,
Just that
Mike? For the online people.
I just really got to reiterate again that with the technology and the abilities that we now have and the world economy and system, everyone should be able to do something functional and rewarding in society and be able to have at least enough for themselves to survive and get by and have a minimal quality of life. And that needs to be just World Economic Forum, that needs to be #1 agenda because there's no excuse for anything else. People want to be educated. They want to learn. They want to go and develop skills. From the time we're children, most children in elementary school, they're like, oh, I want to be a firefighter. I want to go work with NASA. And throughout life, there are all kinds of things people could do. It's just a matter of having a functional society for that to happen. Now, I mean, of course, there are some lazy people who don't want to do anything, but from my experience, that's been very minimal. And so any of the times that we've had economic crashes and any of the things that happen that lead people just total depression, there's just no call for it. They need to repair the systems.
Thank you. So we've been in a flow environment, and we're going to transition and go into a structured, more of a masculine space right now, portion of this masterclass. In this portion, we're going to do 2-minute shares. So rather than just having however long shares as we want, we're going to do 2 minutes. And in this portion, you have an opportunity to share an offer, to share a gift. And this offer, it'll be available to the participants of this masterclass, and it's also going to be made available on this replay on YouTube to a larger audience. And so with this offer, imagine that you have something and that you can give this something to somebody, and that you don't need to give it to them, and they don't need to receive it, but they really want to receive it. And if this person, if you actually receive what I offer, like, your life is going to be like tenfold better, even just in the simple action of saying, yes, I received this. So feel inside of yourself, feel inside of your heart, and feel and see where you have this gift inside of you that's similar to what I just articulated, that you can share here. We'll have 2 minutes. Who would like to share an offer first?
I have a question.
Mhm.
Could this be some other people?
Yes. Yeah, this can be an online service. It can be a product. It can be a coaching conversation. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go first.
Amazing. I'm going to add one more piece, which is have it be tangible to where you have a name. If it's an event, like, you have an event name. If it's a product, you have a product name. You have a location where this is going to happen at. Is it going to be on Zoom? Is it going to be at this physical location? You have a minimum donation amount, so somebody can contribute. And then lastly, you have a communication, either email, phone number, some way for somebody to connect with you to receive. So with that, welcome, Joseph. Feel into your heart, take however many seconds you need, and then when you're ready, let it rip, and you have 2 minutes.
Okay. This is one of the things I was hoping to share with people through. I was seeing there were some existing morning meditation groups and maybe some yoga classes and things. I studied fundamental Qigong practices through the Healing Tao USA and Universal Healing Tao that I would require no donation, but I've set a minimum donation of $5 to teach the fundamental exercise, which is called Awakening, Healing Light, and the Inner Smile. It's a simple sitting meditation, can be done in anything from 5 minutes at the briefest to a half hour if you wanted to, but very fundamental meditation practice that is to harmonize the energy in your body and reset and recalibrate yourself through what's called the inner smile. It's a positive energy circulation.
Amazing.
And my email address is Joseph_Duffy, DUFFEY, @MSN.com.
Amazing. And so if I want to receive this meditation, is it like an online, is it like a video, or is it a conversation? Like, what does it look like?
Well, the certified instructors in the Healing Tao have books that are available, which I could point people to, but the actual exercise just is simply listen and practice along. You don't need anything other than just a place to sit down to do it.
Nice. Great. Thank you. Joseph, I see your hand up. The other Joseph online. We have two Josephs here now. Welcome. You have
All right.
2 minutes. Just take a moment if you need to, and let it rip.
Okay. All right. So, who here has ever procrastinated on something really important? All right. And who here, after you procrastinated on that really important thing or multiple things, you beat yourself up for it and you felt like shit and you still didn't get it done, and that became a pattern in your life? All right. Well, my name's Joseph, and I've definitely struggled with procrastination quite a lot in my life. Um, it hasn't just cost me time and mental well-being, but like literally thousands of dollars. Um, like I procrastinated on getting into college while I was in high school. So by the time I ended up going over a year later, I ended up going into debt because I had to take out federal loans. In high school and college, I used to not get my homework done, which hurt my grades, and I would really beat myself up for that. But I found a way out of it. And what it was making a plan and being accountable to it. And I called that my schedule. It's a little invention I made. If you go to schedule.bridgebucks.info, you can download that for free. I show you how to use it. And I'm also developing a course that goes deeper into using that and totally overcoming procrastination in your life. So for a deep dive training on how to use it, and also lesson 1 in my course, you can get that for $33. If you want to get a one-time coaching session for an hour, you can get that for $35. Or if you want to go ahead and get the whole course, it's not finished yet, but you'll get it once it is, you can get that for $333. And that is at journal.bridgebucks.info. I'll also put my email and my phone number in the chat.
Amazing. Thank you.
Well,
I have an offer. I am a artist, and I make a ring that I call my Cross Your Heart ring, as a reminder to be kind to yourself. And for a minimum donation of $35, you get the ring and a 30-minute discussion on ways that you could be kinder to yourself. And that can include a heart breath rhythm meditation that I myself have found helpful in tuning into my heart. And I'll put that information wherever it needs to be.
Yeah, it'll be in the description of this video.
It'll be in the description of this video, then I think I sent you the link to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome. So this masterclass happens every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Who here has an ego?
Depending on definition. A good ego, I try to maintain a good ego and not be egotistical.
My offer is to come join Natural Balance Masterclass. Not to ignore the ego, not to leave the ego behind, but to practice coming from being whole and complete, which is to notice when the ego is showing up and be like, look at you, significant ego, man, I really love you. And I know I'm not you, and I see you, and I'm still taking a step. Still taking a breath, and I'm still in this conversation. And so I invite you Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. To join virtually, or if you're here in the village physically, Natural Balance Masterclass, specifically to practice being whole and complete. That's my offer today. All right. So we're a little bit early today, which I love. And like, what is early? Well, it's in time. And what are we? We are infinite. So tapping into, all right, so I'm infinite. So I'm actually here now. And thank you so much, Lucia, for joining. I actually didn't expect you to join.
Well, I just have to say, the reason I picked you is because I knew your ego could handle it. When they asked me who's not your favorite, it was like, who could handle that better than anybody else? And that's why I picked you.
Oh, what the fuck? So it wasn't even like legit, huh? That's some bullshit. For you watching, you don't have any context of this brief interaction, but it definitely was bullshit, which is less than fully authentic, and who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if it's bullshit? Who gives a shit if it's not fully authentic? The only person who actually gives a shit is the person who's made a commitment to be authentic. And with that, thank you, Joseph, for being here. Thank you, Joseph, online for being here. I love you. I honor you. What we focus on expands. Where our focus goes, energy flows. Our true self is always available. We choose what we focus on. With that, peace.
Thank you, Neal.
You're welcome.